Right, I am going to do the feeding part of the NG tube, internal feeding. So basically, of course, I'm going to verify my doctor's orders. I'm going to identify my patient with their armband. We're going to say the patient just got this inserted, so now we're needing to make sure for the placement and all of that. So everything's been confirmed for the pH. Everything has been confirmed with the chest x-ray, but now it's time for me to connect the patient to feeding. So of course, after verifying everything, I'm going to put on my perform hand hygiene. I'm going to put on my gloves. And then, of course, I'm going to also request for the feeding internal nutrition formula from the pharmacy, of course. And by preparing that, it may come, depending on how it comes, you may have to shake it a little bit. It may be something where, the tubing and all that, you may have to, it may come in a can where you have to pour it inside the bag itself. When it comes to starting feedings, of course, you want to have your patient with any kind of NG tube. They need to be in high phallus position. You want to verify the tube placement before either administration of medications or giving any kind of water or starting anything new for within the tubing. You want to verify placement. So for his verifying placement, I'm going to check the gastric contents. Once I check gastric contents to the pH and find that everything is good, then I'm going to pretty much get ready to give the feeding. So I'm going to get 30 milliliters of water. And then for his, when it comes to flushing it, of course, once placement is done, you want to flush it. You can also do gravity. Basically, you will pretty much take this plunger out. I can't take this out. You will put water in here, or and check gravity. So basically, you want to have the water that you want, like the 30 milliliters of water. You just kind of let it go in by itself. Once that is done, you can do, of course, for the 30 milliliters, you can flush it. Once everything been tested, you can flush it like this. Now the pump mechanism or methods, basically the pump is, you can set the pump how you want it. So the doctor is wanting this patient to get feedings, and then also every so many hours the patient needs to get, every 4 hours or so the patient need to get a bolus of 100 milliliters of water. So with the method, you will set the pump, connect this tubing to the pump, have the pump set as the doctor orders provided, which is maybe 45 milliliters an hour. So you will set the pump for that. But then every 4 hours, you want the patient to get 100 milliliters of a bolus of water in between feedings. So you can actually set the pump to do that, or you can do it manually. So once it gets to that certain time, you can go in and stop the pump and stop the feeding. You can change the pump over to where it can start initiating water, and then you will set the pump to go ahead and do that bolus water in. Once that is complete, the pump can manually switch back on its own, or you can pretty much go back in once that's finished and set it. Usually the pump is, the type of pumps that I'm familiar with. Like if you hold the feeding for a certain period of time, it'll start beeping to let you know, hey, you need to start this back, or it's time to start this back. So that way, like if you do kind of get where you forget, it kind of reminds you. Now once you have connected this to the feeding. Once everything's been done and the pump's been set, you want to of course check the residue according to the policy or protocol for the facility. You can check it every shift, or like I said, check it before you administrate anything to make sure it's still in place. And then once that is all done, you want to take your gloves off and then document the feeding, the residue, the appearance of everything. If the patient is having how the patient tolerates it, intake and output, you want to document all of that after the feeding has been administrated.